You know when you accidentally ruin your own plans, but somehow the day still works out? That's basically what happened to me. I woke up fully convinced I was going to Incheon. Like mentally, I was ready to take the subway to Incheon. I had a plan, and somehow I ended up in Suwon instead. Like I physically got on the wrong subway and traveled an hour in the wrong direction without noticing. And weirdly, it ended up being a day I don't regret. It was such a beautiful day. It was one of those days where you feel guilty staying indoors. And recently, I've been trying to say yes to more random trips because honestly, some of my favorite memories have come from days where I didn't really overthink things. So I thought, why not go to Incheon? I feel like everyone associates Incheon with the airport, which honestly is fair because every single time someone says Incheon, my brain immediately thinks of dragging a suitcase across shiny floors while mildly panicking about passport control. But I realized I've never actually explored the city itself, and I really wanted Jajangmyeon, which honestly may have been the main motivation. I'm honestly obsessed with Jajangmyeon, like deeply obsessed. I think about it constantly. So in my head, the day was simple: go to Incheon, walk around, eat noodles, romanticize life a little bit, and come home. Very wholesome, very manageable. So I get on line 1, and the subway was surprisingly empty. The sunlight was coming through the windows. The views outside were actually beautiful. And Korea from the subway has this really specific feeling to me, especially when you're leaving Seoul for a bit. Everything starts changing slowly. The buildings become more spaced out. You see random neighborhoods you've never noticed before. Tiny vegetable gardens, old apartment buildings. So I got comfortable, I took out my tablet, started playing games, listening to music. Around 40 minutes later, I suddenly had this weird feeling. You know when your gut just quietly taps you on the shoulder? Not even panic, just a tiny little, hey, maybe check. And thank God I listened because I opened the map. And the route was going south, not southeast. I refreshed the app because I genuinely thought that maybe the map glitched or something. Like surely technology was wrong and not me. But no, I was wrong, very wrong. I was somehow now over an hour away from Incheon. And that's when I realized I got on the wrong subway and accidentally ended up in Suwon. Honestly, there was a solid 10 seconds where I just stared into space. Because how do you even process that? Like imagine confidently beginning your cute little organized day trip and suddenly you're in an entirely different city. But weirdly, I wasn't panicking. I think because Suwon is a pretty major city, so I knew I wasn't stranded in the middle of nowhere. There was English information around, people everywhere, cafes, shops. So instead of spiraling, I just kind of accepted my fate. Which honestly is character growth for me because old me would have acted like the world was ending. The only problem was, I knew absolutely nothing about Suwon. I hadn't researched anything. I didn't have a list saved, no itinerary, nothing. I genuinely felt like a lost sheep just wandering around with no purpose. And I think that's why my first instinct was coffee. Because coffee fixes almost every situation emotionally. So I just started walking, no destination, no thoughts really. And eventually I came across Mega Coffee, which at the moment honestly felt like seeing an old friend. Now looking back, maybe I should have gone to a tiny local cafe, but in the moment, I truly did not have the mental energy to be adventurous. I needed familiarity, and Mega Coffee delivered. It was busy inside, but somehow I managed to get a seat. I thought since I'm in a new city, let me change my coffee order, and I ordered a matcha. I hadn't had caffeine yet that day, and I really needed this drink to save me. And it was perfect. I think I drank the whole thing in under 10 sips. It tasted so good that for a moment I forgot I accidentally derailed my entire day, which honestly says a lot about the power of caffeine. So I sat there with my drink and opened the maps trying to figure out what to do next. Because I wasn't sad exactly, I think that's what surprised me. I wasn't upset the day was ruined. I was more sad that I hadn't prepared for Suwon specifically. Like if I had known I was coming here, maybe I would have researched cute neighborhoods or restaurants or viewpoints. Instead, everything felt random. But then I realized maybe random is okay. Not every day needs optimization. And honestly, some of the best travel memories happen when things go slightly wrong because you stop trying to control the experience. So I decided, I'm here now. I might as well experience a little bit of Suwon before heading back. And naturally, the first thing I did was go to karaoke. Because honestly, if you accidentally travel to the wrong city, the only reasonable response is to sing through the confusion, at least for me. And somehow, there was literally a karaoke place 1 minute away from the cafe, which felt weirdly meant to be. So I went in and immediately the entire mood of the day changed. Because karaoke fixes everything. I truly believe this. There's something so therapeutic about screaming lyrics in a tiny room by yourself. And suddenly, this wasn't the day I got lost. It became the weird, spontaneous day I ended up singing karaoke alone in Suwon, which honestly sounds significantly cooler. After that, I wandered into one of those claw machine arcades, which Korea is absolutely obsessed with, and unfortunately, so am I. I never win anything, not once. But every single time I walk past one, I suddenly become convinced that today is the day my luck changes. It never does. I walked around looking at all the prizes, imagining myself winning something enormous with one perfect grab. Then I kept walking and eventually I came across Maesan Market, and I love markets so much. Even if I buy absolutely nothing, there's something comforting about wandering around, looking at random things you do not need whatsoever. I think markets make you feel connected to a place in a different way. You hear people talking, smell food everywhere, you see tiny little details, it feels alive. So I just wandered for a bit. Then naturally I bought snacks because apparently every accidental adventure requires crisps. And somehow after all of that, I still saw a Dunkin' and immediately thought, should I get donuts for later? As if there was ever another option. Of course I bought donuts. Honestly, future me deserved that happiness. So I got them to go and continued walking around a little longer. And at some point, I realized the entire day had basically disappeared, which always happens when you're wandering aimlessly. Time moves differently when you have nowhere specific to be. Eventually, it was time to head back to Seoul. But before the station, I saw Oliveyong. And I'm sorry, but walking past Oliveyong without entering feels morally incorrect. Even if you buy nothing, you still have to look. It's the law. I told myself beforehand I needed to spend less money there. So this visit was purely observational, a museum trip if you will. And then finally, home time. I was exhausted in that very satisfying way where your body feels tired but your brain feels full. And waiting for me were the donuts, which honestly became the perfect ending to the day. I specifically remember one was an apple fritter type donut and the other was kind of cinnamon roll adjacent. Both incredible, 10 out of 10. But honestly, I've never had a bad donut. I genuinely think donuts are one of humanity's most consistent achievements. Like they almost never disappoint. And that was my accidental day in Suwon, a city I never planned to visit, but somehow ended up really enjoying anyway. And honestly, I think there's something kind of nice about getting lost sometimes. To remind yourself that not every good experience has to be perfectly planned. Sometimes you just get on the wrong train and the day still turns out okay, maybe even better than okay.